Hello everybody, I am Thomas George. Some of you know that, some of you don't. Welcome. I have been sharing my passion about obesity with you. Why? I'm a family nurse practitioner and a doctor of nursing practice, and all of my doctoral work focused on the patient-centered, evidence-based care for people with obesity, myself included. At one time, I was nearly 330 pounds, and this is going to come as a shock. Treating obesity doesn't mean losing weight. It actually means treating the causes of obesity, and weight comes off as a result. We talked about the fundamental pillars of treating obesity: nutrition, physical activity, the brain game, our behavioral health side, medication and molecules, but the most important one, I think, is community, and we're doing this together. So look at here. Look at this cornucopia, the phytonutrients. We could call this Phytonutrient Friday. The colors here are all nutrients. They're good for us, and this is the best way to take them in our food every day. We are going to do something fun today. We're going to make a very simple salad that's throughout the Mediterranean, sometimes known as an Israeli salad or fattoush in Lebanon. North Africa has this, Italy has this, and what we're going to do, good catch, right? What we're going to do is show you how this basic staple can be turned over to so many different things. The other thing we're going to talk about is nutrition. Eating plans, not diet. We want eating plans that are healthy, nutritious, delicious. They should be easy on the days that we're busy. They should be luxurious on the days we want to celebrate. Most of all, they should help you achieve your goals. This plate of all the great vegetables and fruit that are here, it's about 80% water. When we take this in, it gives us volume that helps us feel full sooner. And it also brings all of the great nutrition along with it, from the sun to the plant to you. We're going to pair this with some grilled chicken, and I'll show you how to do each step so this can be quick, easy, nutritious, but most of all, delicious. So hang on, we're going to do this because you know what I say, we can do this together. So next thing I'm going to do is show you how to prep these foods. All right, the basis of this salad is a delicious lemon olive oil dressing. And we're going to get started on that, but we're going to begin with an onion. Here's the reason why. Not everybody likes onions, and when you take this onion and soak it inside of this dressing, it will pickle the onion. It'll be a little less bite, so you get the onion flavor without the onion bite. The citrus in the lemon works really well with that. We're using extra virgin olive oil. This recipe calls for 1 cup. We're going to squeeze the lemons to get about a ½ cup of lemon. I want you to adjust this flavor and find what works best for you. I like more lemon, so the ratio I use is 2 parts oil to 1 part lemon. We'll also add some garlic. If you're not a garlic person, you can omit it. This recipe calls for 1 to 2 cloves, about a ½ to 1 tablespoon. Don't worry about the recipe, it's linked below, and you'll be able to print it off along with a shopping list. So let's get started with our onion. So for this recipe, we want to have a fine to medium dice. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want it to be roughly the same size. On the root end of the onion, which is right here, we want to preserve that. So when we're slicing this onion, we can take our hand flat and we cut parallel to the onion just about to the root side. Sometimes it's helpful to just set it like that, not cut all the way through. And then we're going to take the point of our knife, and I'm holding it like this with my fingers so I can have good dexterity with this. I'm just going to cut down almost to the root. And you see what's happening there. These parallel cuts will soon become my dice, and having that horizontal cut gets those side pieces that we want. So then we're going to hold our fingers curled in so the knife is just going up and down on my knuckles so I don't cut myself, because that wouldn't be one of the ingredients in the recipe. So look at the beautiful dice that occurs here. Okay, the onions are diced and in the bowl. Next part of this recipe is the lemon, because the lemon is what's going to give us a nice pickle on these onions, take that edginess away. If you're measuring, this is a half of like a medium to large onion, and I wrote down some of the sizes so we'll put it on there, but it's about a ½ cup of onions. Now we're going to get lemon, and for this recipe we want a ½ cup, and most of you have probably seen something like this. It's pretty easy. It actually goes flat side down, and when we give it a squeeze, it juices a lot of juice in there. We want to get, again, a ½ cup of lemon juice here. But what happens if you don't have one of these things? Well, I like my fingers. They work pretty well. If you really want to get your finger work out, just give it a squeeze and a twist, squeeze and a twist, squeeze and a twist. Don't worry about the seeds. I'll show you why. One of the other things I like to do is most people have one of these around and maybe you need a little leverage. Maybe it's not as juicy as you'd like. So we're going to take it just like this inside here, give me some leverage. So when I squeeze, done, and all the juice is out. So if you look at the side here, we're getting close to our half cup, but I'm going to take one more lemon here and give it a squeeze and we'll get going. Double squeeze. I can do that with eggs too. I do kids' parties on weekends. The reason I said don't worry about the seeds is when I take this now, I'm going to pour it right through here and it's going to catch all those seeds. So we'll get 2 more lemons to get our half cup, and then we're going to add that to the 1 cup of olive oil, and then we'll make our dressing.
Go.
All right, everybody. Next part of this recipe is garlic. I love garlic, and this recipe hinges on fresh garlic. Again, feel free to omit it. Some recipes don't use it. I like it. If you're going to use this for like an Italian recipe or a Middle Eastern recipe, you'll almost always see the garlic in here. So start fresh, and then how do you peel this stuff? Well, you can peel it, and it's sticky, and it'll stick to your fingers, and you're not going to get a good peel. You can take the flat side of a knife, if you feel safe doing so. You want to make sure the blade is down, and you hit the back side like that. And then you can see that it's much easier to take that off, and just cut the root end, and you're done. The other thing you can do, use physics. I just did use physics, and that's done. All we have to do is smash it a little bit to get that skin off. What we'll do from here is put a very fine mince on this, and we'll show you how this recipe comes together with this delicious lemon olive oil dressing. All right, I've smashed my garlic and I'm giving it a little mince. I like to keep my fingers on this side of the knife and again holding it, just rocking it back and forth. If you have a garlic press, you can do this as well. Just don't chop your fingers or your fingernails. They don't taste good in salad. Once we get this to a fine mist, we're going to add it to our olive oil and our lemon juice. If you have a mortar and pestle, you could also grind it this way, where it's like a bowl of stone and a little masher, and you can add that and then incorporate your oil and your juice to that. So look at this for a second. It's very simple, it's very easy, and it's very fragrant. Right now I'm smelling garlic and I'm taken back to my Lebanese grandmother. She did all of this by hand as a labor of love, and I appreciated it so much as a kid. Every time I smell garlic, see these lemons, I remember a very comfortable part of my life. My grandmother, who loved me unconditionally, as many grandmas do, and she gave me a lot of these recipes, and over the years has given me a love for cooking and sharing it with others. And that's the community part of what we're doing. You know, obesity is a serious disease, and nutrition is one of those pillars that we need to have fun with, because a lot of our fellowship centers around meals and togetherness. So I hope that as you're doing this, you're already thinking about who you want to share this with, who will taste your creation, and what kind of conversations will occur. So let's make some dressing. There are a couple of ways to make dressings, but we want to emulsify the oil with the liquid, and lemon juice is largely water. You know, oil and water don't mix. Well, we can emulsify, we can intersperse their molecules so they make a thicker liquid. Those seeds that I talked about in the half cup of lemon juice, here's one way to get rid of those seeds. Very easy, right? Those seeds are in here, they're in here, and in here we're going to have some really easy, clean, fresh lemon juice. Now I have 1 cup of extra virgin olive oil. When you smell oil, it shouldn't be rancid. Oh my goodness. It smells fruity. I can smell the olive. I can even think of some olive trees I saw in Italy. And I saw them, they didn't look like anything like this, but I did see them pressing some green olives, and I got to taste it. It was fruity, it was fragrant, it was delicious. That's the olive oil you need. If you don't have some, spend a little to get it. It's worthwhile, and make sure it's from a reputable source. So we're just going to take that, pour it into the bowl. When we emulsify this, we can do it a couple of different ways, and I'm going to show you one of those. It's a whisk. And a whisk is just taking this and incorporating little wrist actions to get air in there. So I'm going to do it like this so I don't splatter everywhere. And you'll see what happens in just a few whisks of the wrist. We now have this thick, delicious emulsification. And we can then add our garlic to that. But wait, there's something else I want to do. There's something for all of us. If you don't have a whisk, if you don't feel like going to do this, try this. Instead of a bowl, look how thick and delicious that is. I could eat that right like that on almost anything, including salad. You could put it inside your jar and then put your lid on and give it a shake. This will emulsify very quickly, and you can see a nice thick dressing there. To this, we're going to add our garlic, which we've already done a great job on. And then we will add a little bit of pepper to taste. Salt in this recipe, I go for about a teaspoon of salt. Now we're making a double recipe here. The reason why we're making a double recipe is half of this dressing is going to be for the salad and the other half is going to be for marinating our chicken. And we want to get our chicken marinating sooner than later. So you notice I'm standing away from my cutting board and I have raw chicken that's inside this container where I've used about half of my dressing and I've coated the chicken. This is about 4 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast. Why did I go with that? Because it takes a marinade very quickly, like 2 to 3 hours, and it will be full of that fresh lemon and olive oil flavor with a hint of garlic, salt, and pepper. So the portions that I cut this in, about 5 pieces, will be 4 ounces raw. We're going to put this on skewers and cook it on a grill. I'll show you some ways to prepare that. For now, it's going to go back in the fridge and sit. All right, one of the things you want to do once you've shaken this up and you've given it a good stir, give it a taste. Get a clean spoon, swirl it around. Get ready for a little lemon pop. Olive oil, lemon, garlic, sea salt, a little bit of black pepper. That is your dressing. It's also your marinade. It also keeps in the fridge, and if it separates, all you have to do is shake the jar again. So I kind of like the jar method better than the whisk method because I can do a large amount of this and use it in a lot of different recipes. Okay, the onions are marinating. In just a few minutes, you're going to see that they are getting a little bit softer, but they'll still maintain their crunch. But most of all, that lemon is going to take away some of that onion edge. The next thing we'll do is prep our cucumbers. Today we're using hothouse cucumbers or English cucumbers. I like them because you don't have to peel them. It's got a thinner skin and a little bit less seeds. In the Middle East and throughout the Mediterranean, they actually have smaller cucumbers called Persian cucumbers, and they have fewer seeds. This mimics that in this recipe. You could use any cucumber for this. Big thing is we're going to take the seeds out so it doesn't make a watered down salad. To prep cucumbers, you just need to do 2 things. Take the ends off because they tend to be a little bitter. And once you've taken that, split them lengthwise. So find a stable spot to bring your knife right down the middle. I'm going to show you 2 ways to clean the seeds out of these. One is using a spoon and one is using the knife. When you're using the knife, you'll continue to cut them down into fourths. And then you'll simply take your knife blade and give a little fillet. Now I'm doing that to show you what it looks like, but on the board, I would actually use my board like this and just fillet and cut away from yourself so you don't cut yourself. We don't want that to happen in the kitchen. That's always a bad day. Some people say, what do you do with these seeds? I actually eat them. I enjoy eating the seeds, and I'll sometimes cut them up with a little bit of that dressing. I don't like it to go to waste. I also think that there's a great amount of nutrition that comes into these seeds, and we don't want to lose that. So I don't throw this away. I actually make it my personal salad. Everybody else gets a little bit of the extra special salad. Then I put that new flat side down, and I'm going to come back, make another cut, and we now have seedless cucumbers. The spoon method. This works equally well. You take the spoon, you dig it in, and you give... Did you hear that? Did you see that? It's kind of like scaling a fish. Pieces will go everywhere, so be careful. But it works pretty well, and it doesn't have the risk of getting cut. So I'll do that one here, and the same thing comes down, making a mess. I can feel it and see it splattering everywhere, but the seeds are gone. Again, I'm going to store these to eat later, and this I'll cut into these long strips as well. Now we have these nice strips of cucumbers that have been de-seeded, and all we're going to do is pull up into a bundle. We're just going to make a nice chop, and you're going to see the size that we're going for is roughly the same of our tomatoes, our onions, and other elements that we'll put in there. So be careful, be thoughtful, mind your fingers, And when you're done with this step, you can put it directly in the bowl with the onions. Okay, I've taken the diced cucumbers, added to the salad, mix it with that dressing. That will keep everything getting the flavor. If you could smell this, it's like nature's perfume. Garlic, cucumbers, onion, lemon, it's delicious. Time for tomatoes. Roma tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. Either way, we're looking for 10 to 12 ounces. This is roughly a pint at the farmer's market, or about 4 medium-sized Romas. Romas have a small stem, but they're also pretty meaty and have a lot of water and seeds. To get rid of those, the fillet method. Start at the pointy end, bring your knife towards the point where the stem is, done. Now, sometimes I'll save these and put them into vegetable smoothies or into stir fries. They just kind of take up space and add moisture. What you get is this little fillet of tomato. Tomatoes. You see that I filleted a few of the Romas, and that's easy. I love these, but they're too big to put on a salad. In fact, you try to put a fork in there, it might squish and go everywhere. It'd be awkward when somebody's trying to eat it. You might get frustrated and just pull it out of the salad and eat it. Here's one of my favorite techniques. We probably have these everywhere in your house, and that's 1 pint of tomatoes. You see the sandwich I've made? Hand, with just a little bit of downward pressure, split the middle and just drive your knife right across like this. And I have split perfectly tomatoes. We'll add those to our salad and work on our parsley next. It's parsley time. The Lebanese tabbouleh, the Mediterranean salad, the Israeli salad, almost all of them are going to have flat leaf parsley. Now, if you wanted to make this more of a Latin American spin, you could add cilantro. Perhaps you like curly parsley. Do that too, doesn't matter. All we're going to do is take most of the stems, not all because there's good nutrition in here, but the bottom of the stems tend to be a little tough. So I'm just going to take those, set them to the side. The rest of this, I am going to bundle up like I'm making a fistful, and I'm going to bundle it tightly underneath there. And then once I have that bundle, I'm just going to start cutting. This is roughly called a chiffonade, although a French chef would do it much more delicately. It's where we take herbs and we kind of stack them up on each other. So first I'm making a bunch of parallel cuts this way. Now I'm going to make some parallel cuts this way. Just a rough chop is what we're looking for. And once you get this to about the size of a dime, you add it to your salad. Then we'll add our pepper. So peppers. I love peppers. You may not. Feel free to omit it, but look at the color. This is a little bit milder and sweeter. To prep this for this mix, all we're going to do is look for the shoulder. That's about the side. The top here is where the seeds are going to be inside, and we want to de-seed this, so I'm just going to take it right across like that. Then you can see the seeds in here. I'm just going to put my fingers, twist, de-seeded. Now what? Put it flat down. Find a flat surface, like this, flat surface, like this, boom. This is what I call the cheat piece. I might eat this. Then for this part here, you pop the stem out and you have your other pieces. All we want to do with this is the same kind of dice. That means making nice strips, taking those strips, cutting them into roughly the same size. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be small. Green onions. Again, if you don't like them, don't add them. I take off the outside that's a little bit sometimes brown, sometimes mushy, and I trim the ends. Then I align their root ends so I can just take a small snip off the ends. Then the other thing I do is I cut them in half so I can bundle them up, slice them into small little rounds. And as we do this, again, mind your fingers, watch where your knife is all the time. When my knuckles are here, it's working as a guard against cutting myself. And I just slowly push things forward so it gets into the knife path. Always be knowing where your knife is going and you won't get cut. So we'll add these, and then the last thing we'll do is mint. We save mint for last because mint will oxidize and turn brown unless we cut it and quickly get it in the dressing where the citric acid from the lemon will prevent that oxidation. So, see you in just a second.
Go.
Okay, this is the part that maybe you weren't expecting. Fresh mint. Oh my goodness, if you could smell this, it's better than artificial bubblegum stuff. This is the real deal. Throughout the Mediterranean, mint, dill, even cilantro finds its way into a lot of seasonings and flavors, including salads. What I've done is gone through and pulled the leaves off of the tough stems, but I still leave the smaller, more tender stems because they have flavor too, and it's nutrition. Then what we're going to do is a rough chop, much like the parsley, but as soon as we're done chopping this, it goes in the salad and gets mixed so it can get coated with that lemon juice. Now, in the French technique of chiffonade, you would stack your leaves up, roll them together like a cigar, and then you would slice this way to get that chop. But because we're not looking for perfection or precision, you can do this. It's a lot easier. If this is a challenge or you're afraid of the knife, everything I've done today can be done with a smaller knife like a paring knife, or you could use a scissors for this, and that would give you a nice uniform chop as well. Now, all this equipment that I'm using, I bought here locally. This can all be acquired, like this French knife. I have one that costs about $70. This one was $7 at our local store. So just to show you, all this can be done at home for a reasonable cost. In fact, this meal here is about $2.25 per person. Think about that. Chicken and salad with all this freshness for less than $3. Nutritious, delicious, and oh, it smells so good. All right, friends, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Everything is in this bowl and it's about to get mixed, and I'm standing here right on top of probably the nicest incenser ever. No smoke, but all of the scent. I am right now smelling garlic and lemon. I can smell the cucumbers, the mint, the parsley. And as this all comes together, I'm pretty much hungry. The only thing we're going to do next is add anything that we might want to dress this up with. For example, radishes. I love radishes. Throughout North Africa, the Mediterranean, these little guys find their way into salads, but not everybody likes them. Like when my kids were younger, like, Dad, those are too peppery and icky. Save that for you and put it on the side. The other thing you can do is add things like feta cheese. If you wanted to make this more Italian, add some fresh oregano, a hard cheese that's been cubed, and some salami. Toss it together, it's delicious. Maybe you want to make it greener. Add some arugula, a sturdy green. Gives a little pepper bite, marries well with the lemon and the garlic. Now that this is all turned together, it's smelling delicious, but look at that. Do you see all that color? I wish you could smell it. It smells delicious. This is where you adjust your seasonings. Take a clean spoon, put it in there, take a bite, make sure you have something of everything. That was delicious. I'm getting the lemon, I'm getting all the flavors. This is where you add just a little bit of salt if necessary. I think this needs just about that much. I like pepper, you may not, but some fresh cracked black pepper is a little better in this type of salad because it's fresher, gives you a little pop without the spice. Now we're going to mix this in. We're going to do the next part of this, which is grilling our chicken. All right, it's chicken time. You noticed we're done using our vegetables on the cutting board. This cutting board will not be used for anything else raw except for the chicken at this point. We don't want to cross-contaminate, which is why I'm wearing my gloves. You can do that too, or you can just wash your hands real well. I've been washing my hands in between every section of this just to make sure that clean hands touch clean food. The chicken I pre-portioned so that each piece, up to 5 pieces, is about 4 ounces. Now we're going to grill this indoors, so there's no need to take your sticks and soak them. But if you're going to grill out on a charcoal or a gas range, make sure you soak your sticks in water so they don't start on fire. What we want to do is get these spaced out so that they're going to be flat and uniform across the dimensions, so when it grills, it'll grill evenly. So next up, grilled chicken. Okay, it's time to grill. One of the things we're going to do is add a little bit of salt. Even though it's been marinated, it won't pick up all the salt notes. So I'm just going to do a light sprinkle of sea salt. I'm going to add a little bit of cracked black pepper. And then I'm going to add a little secret. It's called harissa. Now, harissa is usually a condiment, not a spice. But if you smell this, oh man, you're going to get a little bit of cumin, a little bit of smoky paprika. You're going to get a color that's kind of the color of chili powder. And all I'm going to do is just take a pinch of this, and from up here, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on here You could do this without getting harissa spice. You could use a little bit of cumin, or you could use a little bit of chili powder and then add some smoked paprika and a little bit of cayenne if you like it hot. Then we want to make sure our grill is smoking hot, and this is smoking hot. You should hear it. This type of grill has cooking surfaces on two sides, so it's going to cook much faster than outside because the heat is coming from both ways. So now that I close this, we're going to check this in about 4 to 5 minutes and see where we're at. So you can hear the chicken is cooking in the background, and this is a time where I'm going to make a delicious tea. We're going to celebrate this Middle Eastern Mediterranean vibe. So I've taken an orange with something you should have, a peeler, and if you go very lightly, you're going to get the zest without the rind. So you see it's orange on both sides and you're not getting any of this rind. This is where the flavor's at. So we're going to take this, give it a twist. We're going to take this, give it a twist, and put it into our glass. Then we'll take a little piece of this orange that we've sectioned off, and we'll make a nice decoration for our glass. Put it just like that. What we're going to put in here is hibiscus tea. Do you see how red and beautiful this is? Hibiscus is a red flower, and when it's dried, it looks like this and has fruity floral notes. And when you brew it, it's slightly acidic, slightly floral, and definitely a nice tea without any type of caffeine. It's refreshing in the summer when it's cold. So I'm going to add this to my orange, about 3/4 of the way. I am going to take a little bit of carbonated water and add that so it's a little spritzer. So now I've got a little bubble, I've got a little spritz, and now I'm going to make it sweet. I like to use stevia. So this is the actual stevia plant that has been reduced to just the sweet part. It's over 300 times sweeter than sugar. You don't need a lot of this. In fact, that is all you need to sweeten this. So give it a stir, and one of the things you can do for added pop, stir it with one of your orange zests. It will dissolve in, add some ice, and enjoy. Cheers. So I'm just checking the chicken, flipping it about halfway through. One of the things with a clean finger you can just test, and if it's firm to touch, it's close to done. I'm going to put the lid on just so that we can get that sear on the other side. This will be done in about 1 minute. It's already cooked most of the way through. This will just add a little bit of color to our chicken because we eat with our eyes first. It has to look good before it tastes good. So as I'm sitting here, I'm smelling the chicken. I'm smelling our fragrant salad. This is the pre-cephalic phase of eating. Your body's already preparing for its meal. Right now, it's already secreting hormones and chemicals in your body that will help you digest. Our insulin is starting to go up in expectation of calories in our meal. The scent that we have is getting our digestive tract ready. In fact, if you can feel the saliva in your mouth, not just Pavlov's dogs salivate, we do too, as salivary amylase increasing to help us digest. So let's get eating. So now we're getting ready to eat, and a couple of things that I do to help the brain game. Because with obesity, we know fighting obesity means addressing all the pillars: nutrition, physical activity, medicine, and behavioral health. I'm using a smaller plate, but guess what? When I put my food on here, it's going to seem like a huge portion. Even though I just told myself that, my brain still thinks that when I complete this, I've completed a meal. So on this here, this is a serving of chicken. You can have as much of the salad as you'd like, even seconds, because the water content of this is going to help you feel fuller sooner. There are very few calories in your drink, so you can enjoy, luxuriate, and sip. This salad actually has more in the bowl. There are 8 small servings, which would be roughly 139 calories, or 4 large servings, which would be just shy of 280 calories. So to plate this up, have fun. Serve yourself a portion size you're not going to be discontent with. Make sure that you fill your plate from the center and kind of tower it up, stack it vertically, and look at the colors as they're going on the plate. If you could smell the chicken that just came off the grill, combined with the lemon, the garlic, the parsley, oh my goodness. This is the stuff of summer. It's the stuff of summer in the Mediterranean. I hope you take a journey with me. Try this recipe. Tell me what you think. Most of all, do it with somebody you love. We can do this together. That's why we're doing it. Community. Food is the centerpiece of community, and I cannot wait to share a meal with you. Have you ever wondered what happens after a cooking video? Well, I can tell you, we eat. There are a couple ways to eat this. If you have pita bread and you're not afraid of gluten, or you're including carbs like that in your diet, go for it. Imagine having a nice pita, some of the chicken on top, top it with this salad, take a little bit of the dressing, perfect. Maybe you're trying to go low carb. You can take a little lettuce leaf like this, romaine, add a couple pieces of chicken, and top it with your salad. Now look at the plate in front of me. This plate is one medium serving. So really, 2 of these, you'd be less than 300 calories. Most of those calories are coming from olive oil. Olive oil is not bad, it's good. We have to embrace the healthy fats in our diets from nuts, avocados, olive oil, avocado oil. So the flavors that are coming through here are just meant to be together. So as you take this and put it into your stomach, start with your mouth. When you take a bite, first smell it. Do you smell all the ingredients that we use? So as you pause, take a taste. Smell it, taste it. Contemplate it. What are you tasting? Think about it. Mindful eating is being present in the moment, not just continuously putting the food in our face, but sometimes putting the fork down and enjoying the flavors. Do you taste the lemon? Do you taste the mint? Do you taste the grilled chicken? Take time to taste all of that on your palate. Where are you tasting it on your palate? Front, back, side? Take another bite. What enhances it? What takes it away? Enjoy the experience, but most of all, enjoy it with somebody you love. Have a great day, Garrett County.